Have you ever been playing FIFA when one of the following has happened? You've tried to play a pass but it's gone a completely different place to what you intended? You've crossed the ball out of play for no apparent reason? You've felt restricted or limited in the type of passes that you can pull off? If you have experienced any of these problems, you might have just thought that it's just the nature of the game. But in fact, there is a solution to all of these problems. This solution is called manual controls. Some of you may have heard of manual controls, some of you may not. If you use manual controls, it removes a lot of the restrictions which are imposed on the way you play if you use the default settings. It does this by giving you complete control over what happens. Precisely where you aim on the analog stick is the direction the ball goes, and it travels with the exact amount of power you put on it. Once you get the hang of manual controls, you can do things you just can't normally do using the default settings. For example, it enables you to split apart a defense out of nowhere by playing an inch-perfect through ball. As you can see, I can go from the middle of my own half to being clean through on goal with just one pass. What about this situation here? Using manual controls, I can use perfectly weighted passes to rip open my opponent's defense because I have complete control over where my passes go. My opponent can do absolutely nothing about it. Take another example. How often have you been in a situation like this? You're in a good crossing position, but you know that if you try and cross it, it's going to randomly throw the ball in amongst all those players, and you're going to have to hope to get lucky and win a header. Using manual controls, I decide exactly where my cross goes. I can deliberately play the cross away from the defenders, but into a position where my striker can still attack the ball. As long as I get the aim and power right, I can score a goal he can do absolutely nothing about. What about this situation here? If you found yourself in this situation, you might think, I'll run in on goal and attempt to shoot, or you might try and work the ball into the box with a few passes. What you wouldn't think is that there is any way I can put the ball into this area here onto my teammate's head. It's impossible. Normally, you would be right, but using manual controls, I can put the ball into an undefendable area and enable my teammate to score. Want another example? Here you go. So I've mentioned passing, I've mentioned crossing. What about shooting? It works the same way. Manual controls enable you to place your shots exactly where you want them to go. If I'm 25 yards from goal and I want to smack the ball into the near side top corner, I can do that. If I'd rather aim for the far side top corner, I can do that too. Hell, I can do it from 35 yards instead if I want to. In fact, forget 35 yards. Take an example where the goalkeeper has come up for a last minute corner. Using manual controls, I can score from 85 yards if I really want to. The robotic passing and restrictive nature of FIFA simply disappears once you get the hang of manual controls, and I recommend them to anybody who wants a more enjoyable FIFA experience. But you don't have to take my word for that. Here's just a few comments people have made on my channel. Hopefully I've now got you interested to learn a bit more. One thing I do need to say is that manual controls do take a little bit of adjusting to. They aren't easy to use the first time you use them, but after a few goes and a little bit of persistence, you will be playing a much more fun game of FIFA with so much more freedom to your play. In order to help you guys out, I'm making a series of tips and tricks videos to help you guys get the hang of manual controls. Now, depending on when you watch this video, some of the tutorials may or may not be available. If it is available at the time you're watching, click the link below to be taken to the first instructional video where I'll explain how you can set up manual controls on your game, as well as explain in more detail certain aspects of it. Hopefully I'll see you over in the next video and playing with manual controls very soon. Alternatively, if you'd like to see some more examples of stuff you can do with manual controls, there are plenty of other videos on my channel. Thanks for now, and play manual.